Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Navigating COVID while protecting yourself can be difficult. Fortunately, there's a hotline you can call with any questions. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on vaccines, booster shots, and testing sites. Right now, booster shots are available to anyone over the age of 18 for those who are eligible. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline can also help with housing, food, medical, and educational support. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19, vaccinations, booster shots, or testing, please call 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 65, then sunny on Saturday with a high of 84. Whether you're dining in or dining out, Eat Local Minnesota restaurants and food purveyors will make your next meal one to remember. Check out selections like Hazel's Northeast and Cafe Latte. Visit the full list of Eat Local Minnesota restaurants and food purveyors at eatlocalminnesota.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot, and we discuss local and national Native news and events. And as you know, Wendy, Native issues are human issues. And human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Native Roots Trading Post. I'm so excited to shout out that we will be at the Minnesota State Fair this year, starting Thursday, August 25th through Monday, September 5th.
Yes, very excited. We did a little tour today.
Yeah.
And so if you're in the area and do the fair in one of the largest, if not the largest fairs in the country.
I think Texas is the largest.
Yeah, well, they're 30 days long and
wow.
We're only 12.
Right.
But there's 2 million people coming through the doors in those 12 days. And if you're around, we're going to be probably doing our broadcast live there, Wendy, and also selling Resist shirts.
Yeah, come on down.
Oh, hey, so we talk about and report news and events that you don't hear anywhere else. And we like to start out the show, Wendy, with Ogama, who does a great job with all the stuff that we do here, and especially with the news. So we'll give Ogama a big Friday welcome. Welcome, Ogama. Welcome, Ogama. And here's Ogama with the news.
Hi, Buju Anin, everybody. I am Ogama Ganuakwe, and I'm here with some news you don't hear anywhere else on Native Roots Radio. It is Friday. I'm glad it's Friday, and I want to remind you all on this Friday that Native Roots Radio does have a Patreon, and we would love it if you would swing over and donate whatever you might have available at patreon.com/Native Roots Radio. Even $1 or $2 makes a huge difference for us. So if you've got some time and you've got some couple of dollars laying around, a cup of coffee a month could really go a long way for us. So reminding you that that is there today. Today, I really wanted to talk some more water protector news. Currently in Minnesota, the court system is still flooded with cases related to Line 3 and those who resisted the Line 3 pipeline and stood up to protect water and treaty rights. Some of those charges have been dropped, which is great, and other hearings and trials have been postponed. But as it sits right now, about 800 people were arrested, some of them multiple times. And all of these people were hit with thousands of criminal charges during peaceful resistance to the Line 3 tar sands pipeline during the year 2021. Some people were also hit with rubber bullets, pepper balls, and hands-on pain compliance, which were human rights abuses that were addressed by 2 United Nations agencies, including the United Nations Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination and the UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights Defenders. About 300 of the cases against Indigenous water protectors and other Line 3 defendants remain open, which includes about a couple of dozens of really kind of high-level felonies. Water protectors believe that excessive felony charges have included attempted assisted suicide for defendants who entered empty pipelines during protest and left alive, and theft of both pipeline and time. So they're trying to charge water protectors with felony time theft. I'm not sure how that works out legally. A number of these charges have been dropped or dismissed in jurisdictions all across Minnesota, but other charges are remaining in other counties. Shania Matson is currently facing a jury trial in mid-July this year for conspiracy, basically, for aiding and abetting criminal trespass on a critical public infrastructure pipeline at an event she indicates that she did not attend. So she has pled not guilty to this. And now we're looking at 8 months after oil started flowing through Line 3, and now more than 300 people are still dealing with these charges. And defendants are claiming that it was law enforcement who has abused these rights and behaved violently towards them and toward the land agencies like the DNR that are charged with protecting water. Arrests of Indigenous water protectors infringed on treaty and First Amendment rights, according to the defendants, and some of those cases are being heard in tribal court, even as legal terms argue that all Indigenous cases should theoretically be transferred there. So currently Minnesota is on the receiving end of an arrangement with Canadian multinational company Enbridge Corporation. Enbridge paid Minnesota state, local, and law enforcement about $8.6 million, and that money was used to arrest, subdue, and create surveillance on community members resisting the Line 3 tar sands pipeline, which was built in 2021 as legal challenges with tribal governments and community groups were still pending. And the single largest recipient of those reimbursements has been reported to be the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. Right now, there is a petition that is going to the Walz-Flanagan administration that nearly 100,000 people have signed so far. It is drop the charges and flood the courts rallies that are also happening here. So I want to remind everybody that if this is an issue that matters to you in Minnesota, go over and sign the petition. The petition is at bit.ly, so bit.ly/drop the charges, and there's a dash between drop the charges. So it's drop dash the dash charges. And you can sign the petition to the Walz-Flanagan administration there. If you want to sign up for court support, for information for flooding the courts, and for showing up for our water protectors, who are facing these trials, like Shania Matson in Aiken County, coming up this coming weekend. You want to go to tinyurl.com/flood the courts. That is a good way for you to take action. If you have any money to spare, the Line 3 Legal Defense Fund does also need support. You can sign up to help with that at the website for the Line 3 Legal Defense Fund, which is line 3 with the number 3 legalfund.com/donate. Those are two really great ways that you can take action. If you are looking to go in person to a Drop the Charges rally coming up July 13th through July 15th, that will be Shania Matson and others being charged in Aiken County. So there will be a Flood the Courts rally, excuse me, Wednesday, July 13th, Thursday, July 14th, and Friday, July 15th, starting each day at 8:30 a.m. and ending each day at 4:30 p.m. outside the Aiken County Courthouse. You are invited to gather and hold space and rally outside of the courthouse. There will be drummers, and breakfast and lunch will be served all 3 days. And another way that you can get connected is you can go to the Community Meal and Story Circle Connected by Water at the McGregor Community Center, in northern Minnesota this Saturday, July 9th. Robert, can you cover for me for just a second?
Yeah, Wendy, there's a major story that one Kathleen put up, and you've also caught that Canada has been hacked.
Yeah, well, you know what? The major internet outage in Canada disrupts ATMs and 911 services. The company Rogers is one of Canada's largest telecommunications company, and it's experiencing major outages to its cellular, internet, and cable services across the country, leaving some customers unable to use ATMs or reach 911 emergency services. So millions of people use this company called Rogers. I mean, here in the United States, we have quite a few different companies that provide these services: Xfinity, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon. I can't think of a few more off the top of my head. So
Comcast.
yeah, they're saying that this is Comcast. Yep. So we have quite a few companies that we use across the United States. But it looks like Canada is hacked.
Kathleen
Rogers,
said that they only have 2 there.
Wow.
So that's
Okay.
Bell and Rogers, she just said.
Wow.
And that's huge. And from now on, I'm not putting any money in the bank. It's going underneath
The mattress.
the mattress. That's crazy because the internet is just ready to be hacked by people and the
Yeah.
Russians and
Mhm. Well, it says right here, millions rely on Rogers for its service throughout Canada, with a total of 11.3 million wireless subscribers in 2021, according to a statistical report. So that's quite a few people. So
Wow.
hopefully that we have so many different carriers that we don't have that many people stuck in one. We have a lot of
You-
competition here.
Wendy, we do have a lot of competition for carriers, but I think there is a limited amount of towers, and many carriers
Mhm.
share towers. So I don't know that the U.S. is
True.
totally not
Right.
susceptible to something like this happening, even though we have
Oh,
multiple
no, it's
carriers.
definitely not. It's definitely not susceptible.
we
Definitely,
definitely
We're-
are susceptible.
we definitely
Mhm.
are. So we have to
And
be
it's hard to say
careful
that
out
word,
there.
susceptible.
Susceptible.
We'll work on that
Susceptible.
during the commercial break. Thank you,
Yeah.
Ogama, for the news. And thank you, Kathleen. Wendy saw that come up too. Breaking news. And, it's amazing. Everything's run on the
Scary.
internet.
It's really scary.
Really. And we better start learning how to grow our own food because we're going to have to. Yeah. Well, hey, we got State Senator Mary Kunesh up next, and we'll talk a little bit about everything as usual. You're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition. COVID vaccines are safe and available for anyone over the age of 6 months, and booster shots are available for anyone over the age of 5. Getting vaccinated will protect you from severe illness and hospitalization from COVID. If you're still not sure about getting vaccinated, they can answer any questions you have about safety and vaccine effectiveness. This message brought to you by the Native American Community Clinic. Find a vaccination site by calling 651-304-9986 or visit vaccineconnector.mn.gov.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Hi, I'm Claire Ferreira, president and owner of Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. My grandfather started Standard over 90 years ago, and we've been a family-owned company ever since, serving over 500,000 of our fellow Minnesotans. I'm proud to be the 4th generation of my family working in our business. And when we say we treat our employees and clients like family, we truly mean it. See how we can help your family stay comfortable all year long at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
Already this summer, we've had our fair share of 90-degree, hot, humid, muggy days. And it doesn't look like things will change this month, so at least make sure your home stays cool and comfortable with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, get instant savings of $650 on an AC unit or ductless system with payments as low as $73 per month. But don't wait, this cool deal is only available through July 31st. That's Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Hey, it's Friday, and we're on the air with State Senator Mary Kunesh of District 39. I just read that in the chat, so I'm on top of it. And we just, it seems like we haven't seen you in months, Mary. We've been gallivanting around the country, Wendy and I, and here we are. It's a Friday, and we're glad to see you, and we're really super to see what you have to say with all the news that's been going on, and especially today with Biden's signature, and just to get your take what's happening, and then get an update too, because we've started Rock the Vote Native Style, and we've had State Representative Heather Keeler on this week. We've had Alan Roy on, and now you're on. So we're really pleased and happy to have you on, State Senator.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's nice to be here and to see all of you again. Yes, we've missed you for the last few weeks. And I think last week we had our paid holiday of, with the 4th there. So good to see you and have you back on the radio with all of us too.
Thank you. So let's, we haven't talked in a couple weeks. I'm sure you've talked about this with Dr. Stately, who sat in with Dr. Stately and Ogama, who sat in for us. But we're in the upside down world, and we got a lot of fodder to fight these Republicans. They just have to open their mouth and ask them what they believe in, and we should be able to win every election.
Well, we should be able to. You have to realize they do have a following. There are, not only, when we look, if you've been listening at all to the hearings around January 6th and the, unbelievable expectation of turning over our government because Trump decided it was his to be kept. And, we think that will never happen. And we thought Roe versus Wade, it'll never get overturned. And we have to be ready for anything and everything that they're going to throw at us, because they are going to throw it at us. And Trump said, when he was running for office, if I'm elected, I will put in conservative justices, and we will overturn access to abortion. And so we absolutely must work really hard to push back against that. And at the Minnesota legislature, on the DFL side, I'm co-chair of the Reproductive Rights Caucus. And we are working really hard. We've got a really good agenda to ensure abortion access. And so we are already working on legislation to ensure that Minnesota is and stays a national leader in reproductive rights, and that all women have abortion access that is accessible and affordable and has the highest level of health care. And so it's just, we're up to the challenge, but we have to, but Minnesotans need to rise to it as well, because if Republicans do take the majority in Minnesota, we will see that access to safe abortions go away, as well as many of the other things that they're threatening, as far as literally outlawing any kind of birth control.
Right.
And I've even heard about some of these medications that might have adverse effects to a pregnant woman, such as some medicines that help with arthritis, that they are pulling those from the shelves and not giving out to women anymore. So there's a lot of preemptive things that are happening already, and we have to work really hard.
I got to say this before you say something, Wendy. There was a 30-year war on Hillary Clinton by the press. And that last debate that she had, she predicted everything that's happened.
Yep.
Well, I just want to say that real quick before. Go ahead, Wen.
Yeah, no, Ogama and I were having a discussion before we even came on the air, and Ogama was saying, a lot of women are taking fertility medications that make them ovulate and, shoot out some more eggs than normal, right? And they could potentially get impregnated, right? Those eggs could be impregnated with different sperm, and then the woman has 4 or 5 different embryos in her, which need to be, Olga, maybe you want to take over and say what you were saying, but they need to be looked at and taken out so that there's only 1 or 2 in there, because it could be dangerous for the woman to have 4 or how many embryos, and that is going to be considered abortion. I mean, that is abortion. And women who are also having fertility problems, who have frozen embryos, have frozen eggs, who want to take fertility medications. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It's just a really scary thing right now.
Yeah. So I was just looking that up, Wendy, too. That tends to happen with IVF, and they call it multi-fetal pregnancy reduction, to reduce the number of fetuses, usually from 3 or 4 or 5 down to 2. So that they can have a healthy and safe pregnancy. And what is going to happen to our women who are struggling with fertility and using IVF therapy?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy.
It really is. And, as I said, within our Reproductive Rights Caucus, we have to work on really codifying the laws. And one of the things that we have to do is pass the Patients' Right to Know Act. And right now in Minnesota, there's a state mandated anti-abortion counseling and 24-hour waiting period. And the Patients' Right to Know Act would repeal those two. And what it does, there's a requirement that the doctors deliver state mandated anti-abortion propaganda to patients that are seeking abortion care. So doctors have to give this false information to their patients right now by law. And in that information, it states that there's a claim that abortion is linked to breast cancer. And then, so that's totally, inaccurate. And then the second thing that they have to do is there is a 24-hour waiting period for patients to get an abortion after they've received that counseling. And what that means is that if you have to travel somewhere, you go in, you get this information that's very, false. It's a blatant lie. And then you have to go wait 24 hours before you can come back and get the services that you want to have. And so we're trying to repeal both of those things, just as a start with whatever we have in Minnesota right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
About that one. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just stunned here.
Thank you for telling us that, Mary. I had no idea about that.
Well, the other really awful thing too is that right now the law in Minnesota requires minors who are seeking an abortion to notify both of their parents.
Oh my God.
Even if they have no relationship with one or both of them. Or, what if that relationship is abusive? Or you're not able to notify one of the parents.
Got her pregnant.
Yeah, you have to go through the court system to get your care approved. And it's a crime for providers to provide abortion care to minors who don't have precisely the right paperwork. So those anti-abortion activists use young people's court appearances to out them publicly for seeking abortion care.
Oh, well, and the worst part about that too is that you have such a limited window of time, even in states that are allowing legal abortion, that it could take longer than that window of time to be able to get that paperwork in order. And even states that are still allowing abortion, some are limiting it all the way down to 6 weeks, which is before most women even know that they're expecting.
Yeah. So we have a lot of work to do here in Minnesota. There are other laws on the book, like forcing unwanted burial and cremation on abortion patients. The restrictions that are there now are bad enough, but I can only imagine what it would look like in just a very short time.
Wow. I'm just here stunned. I don't know. I'm not a very good interviewer as it is. and I'm like stunned, Wendy.
I feel really bad for, women who are underage and, who just need these services and aren't going to be able to get them. And, we're going to have to go back to the wire hanger days, and where women are going to become, have terrible infections, become septic, and then die. I mean, this is just horrific.
Not only that, I just got to say this. Women are second-class citizens to this white colonized way of thinking, and we have to fight them. That's all I have to say. Mary, can you stick with us for, you and your baby, stick with us for another segment?
You bet.
All right, great. You're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back.
Stay with us.
The show. Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
When it comes to COVID vaccinations, there's a lot of misinformation. Don't just rely on social media or an internet search. Talk to a medical professional. The immunity you'll get from a booster shot will last longer and offer more protection than immunity from getting sick with COVID. Plus, vaccinations are safe for people who are pregnant or have other health conditions. If you have any questions about COVID vaccines, call 651-304-9986 or visit vaccineconnector.mn.gov. This message brought to you by the Native American Community Clinic.
Hi, folks. This is Kirk Bankstad from the Minocqua Brewing Company, and I sell Choice Hard Seltzer. Choice is an all-natural, 105-calorie grapefruit-flavored hard seltzer for those who believe that a woman's reproductive decisions should remain a private matter between her and her doctor. When you purchase Choice Hard Seltzer, 5% of the proceeds go to support reproductive rights organizations in Minnesota.
Drink progressively with Minocqua Brewing. Get their Choice Hard Seltzer at Top 10 Liquors in Plymouth and Top Value Liquor in Columbia Heights. Find other Twin Cities locations at MinocquaBrewingCompany.com.
Seward Co-op is now offering convenient self-serve and prepackaged hot options and salad bars at both the Franklin and Friendship stores. Breakfast items available daily until 11 a.m. and brunch served all day every Sunday. Their weekly lunch and dinner menus highlight cuisines from around the world. They offer vegan, vegetarian, and gluten-free options daily. 95% of the ingredients used are organic from small-scale, local community food producers whenever possible. More at seward.coop.
Think your company's safe? Your staff is working from home, right? As I speak, cyber criminals are mounting attacks across the country. Remember, when we're weakest, cyber criminals attack. Hi, Mark Sommerfeld from Rymark. The Rymark team is guiding our clients through these difficult times. In fact, demand has been so high, we created an easy-to-follow guide. It's yours free. Download our 5 steps to securely work from home now at rymarkit.com or call 651-328-8900 for a no-cost how-to discussion.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 65, then sunny on Saturday with a high of 84. Whether you're dining in or dining out, Eat Local Minnesota restaurants and food purveyors will make your next meal one to remember. Check out selections like Hazel's Northeast and Cafe Latte. Visit the full list of Eat Local Minnesota restaurants and food purveyors at eatlocalminnesota.com.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, Wendy, we're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh of District 39. And I just got to tell Ogama that you and I think are even this week for swearing because I accidentally said the S word just when we were leaving there. So
you were saying
we're tied,
another word, but it came out the wrong word.
Right. Yeah. But I think yours was worse, though. But I don't know. We'll talk about it.
Mine was pretty rough. Yeah. I don't know if you tuned in yesterday, Senator Kunesh, but I accidentally dropped an F-bomb in the middle of another word, and they had to bleep me, and we're still chuckling about it.
Yeah. And it wasn't even I'm mad or I'm cool. It was part of a word.
Oh my gosh.
We don't want to bring that up anymore until next week.
We're just all passionate about the issues that we're talking about.
We are.
Yeah, definitely. And then, or like me, I can't talk. So I have a talk. I can't talk or read. But hey, we're here. And it took me how many years to do your full name, and then you changed it. So it's just like, I don't know what the heck's going on here.
Keep you on your toes, Robert.
Yeah, definitely. So, hey, let's before we talk about some more national and local news, State Senator, I want to ask you about your candidacy and also how we can support you, because that's what we're going to be doing, hitting hard for the rest of the year until election time, is to get that word out there. How can we support you? What's your website? And a little bit about what you stand for.
Well, I am currently the senator in District 39 in Minnesota, and I am running for re-election. I do have a Republican challenger. So, if we look at the rules, if my challenger comes to you and says they would like equal time on the radio, you're going to have to give it to her. But I am looking to be reelected to the Minnesota Senate and continue doing the good work that I've been able to do, like creating the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's Task Force and the Missing and Murdered African American Women's Task Force. Mm-hmm. We have the first in the country permanent office for our missing and murdered relatives, and just a slew of other really good things that have a positive effect on Indian country and other communities as well. And so My website is just my name, marykunesh.com, and you can go there and read about me. And if you find that you'd like to support me in any way possible, you can check it out there and do what you're comfortable doing.
Perfect. And then you've done more in this, and I think the Democrats, and especially you, Mary, you're a doer. You get things done, you go to places, you support people, and we've seen that, and we're so proud to have you on the show. As a representative and now a state senator, we've watched your political life grow as like our radio show, and I don't know if they have the same, if they're parallel or what's going on.
Yeah, we kind of have had the same trajectory. I was just a new, relatively unknown legislator. One of the few women in the Minnesota House, Native American women in the House. And of course, you were just starting out, and, you offered to give me some time, and I was happy to do that. And that's where we both grew from.
I begged you to come on. Let's get that straight. But yeah, so I mean, we have this show, and we amplify Native American and ally voices across all over Turtle Island. We've really grown a lot, and especially since we've been on 5 days a week, which has really been a great partnership with the local AM 950 and also all the stations in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Chicago. And as of August, we're going to be really expanding again. So stay tuned with, we really have to fight. We really have to get the progressive word out there, because there's so much misinformation out there. And
so much at stake.
Yes. And so let's get back to what we were talking about a little bit. It's very informative what everybody's been talking about. I feel like I'm a moderator for a women's show right now, but that's okay, because that's what's at stake right now, you guys.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I was on a Zoom this morning with our reproductive freedom or reproductive rights caucus, and talking about putting together legislation for next session. And, we in Minnesota, again, for those of you that don't know, we are a split legislature where the Dems have the majority in the House, the Republicans have the majority in the Senate, and then the governor is a Democrat as well. And we're hoping to, of course, the Dems are hoping to flip the Senate and take that majority so that we can enshrine and codify a lot of these laws that are going to protect a woman's reproductive rights. And that's really what it is just reproductive rights. The choice to make your own decisions based on your personal situation and in conjunction with your doctor or your healthcare provider. So, we want to look at how to protect patients and providers from any of those post-Roe attacks, because there will be many folks coming to Minnesota for an abortion, because we are the only one in the Midwest that still has allowed that. And so we have to protect our patients, and we have to protect the providers and those that are coming from all over the country from any attacks that the Supreme Court decision will enable them to do. And so one of them is the PRO Act. It's Protect Reproductive Options. And that would codify everyone's individual right in Minnesota. Everyone. Their right in Minnesota to make their own decisions about their reproductive health. And that includes the right to end a pregnancy via abortion if they choose. And right now, that right has been guaranteed by our state constitution for decades, but we have to codify it in our constitution so that reproductive freedom cannot be taken away, even if the composition of our courts here in Minnesota, we have our own Supreme Court, even if that changes, they can't change it. So we've got a lot of work to do, and we have a lot of legislators that are willing to do that. So we're hoping to be productive.
That's awesome. And I there's a couple things I just wanted to throw out there. One of them is I think it's really a red flag for everyone what's going on with the Supreme Court. But I also know BIPOC and especially Native American women have been dealing with this for centuries, even up to now. So welcome to the club, everybody. And also one of the things too, Mary and everybody, this is just the beginning. And Clarence Thomas said this is the beginning of turning over a lot of constitutional amendments like gay marriage and go on and on and on. ICWA's at stake right now. So this is just the beginning.
Yep. Indian Child Welfare Act. That has been on the radar for a while, trying to roll back those unique and really necessary protections for our Native folks so that their kids aren't being removed or are returned to them, in a timely manner. And so we're doing a lot of work, again, here in Minnesota, especially Judge McKeag is working very hard to educate the judicial branch of those in Minnesota, courts and judges, and those sort of things. We have a really great ombudsperson here in Minnesota that works with just our Native American families, and her name is Jill Esch. She does a really good job. She herself knows ICWA very well. And so everywhere we look, it's like, whack-a-doodle, whatever they call that, it's like one pops its head up and we have to pound it down and again. It's like little prairie gophers popping up on the prairie, if you've ever been out there watching that. So it's exhausting work. We have to be so vigilant. People will text me, oh, did you just see the latest? Did you see the latest? And a lot of times I'm like, no, I didn't. And it's a lot of work, but we are determined to get it done and to protect those rights. And we hope that most folks will join us.
Awesome. Great way to end this segment. We've missed you, and thank you so much for being on, State Senator Mary from Minnesota. Also, there's a quick question. If someone comes from another state to Minnesota to have abortion, can they use their insurance, or will their insurance deny the coverage? We don't know.
Only if it's specific to their insurance. It doesn't change if it comes to Minnesota. But if you go to another state, it could change. So.
All right. Well,
know your rights. Yep.
That's right. Well, Peeny Gigi, thank you so much, State Senator Mary Kunesh, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us. Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Right now, gas prices are up there, but don't worry. Fuel efficiency is easy to obtain with a great hybrid model from Rudy Luther Toyota. The Prius, the Camry, the Corolla, the Highlander, and the RAV4, all of them have hybrid models offering you amazing fuel efficiency while you never once have to sacrifice style. RudyLuther.com is the first place to stop to see all their inventory. Rudy Luther Toyota has vehicles to test drive on the lot right now. Find the Toyota hybrid which works with your lifestyle and get it delivered. Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more. Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Where's our wolf?
There's our wolf.
Ooh.
Equal parts sad and angry howl about what's going on in the world right
Yeah,
now.
I know. It's so bad, right, Ogama? It really is. It's just so frustrating. Sometimes I just have to like shut it all off and not think about it because I really honestly could feel my blood boiling in my body.
Wow. Yeah, it's insane. But hey, that's you're gonna talk about our sacred animals again, and you're catching up from last night, which was a lot of fun in that show, right?
Yeah,
or are
it
we
was
going
fun.
crazy?
No,
or
we're gonna
fun
do
facts
it.
again?
Yep, we are. Are you gonna introduce me, or should I introduce myself?
You know, you do such a good job, and I have issues talking, so and reading and saying people's names correctly. But hey, I want to introduce my awesome, beautiful wife, Wendy. Wendy's been an animal advocate for many years, and she works tirelessly on animal issues. And she's also a not a representative. What is it called now?
I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues and policies at the local and state level.
Well, welcome, Wendy.
Yeah, thanks everybody. My name is Hanaji Hihani, and that means cares for them. And I was given that name by my Dega Curtis, and Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. And I always like to thank him for giving me that name. It means a lot to me. It is a Ho-Chunk name. Yep. Hanaji Hihani. Yeah. It took me a really long time to say it off, without having to like read it or think about it. So.
Do you remember when they told me to say my name after I was
after you were named? Yeah.
You're
like,
Distant Thunder.
They're like, no, say your name. Yeah. So last night, it's Friday. We had a really serious conversation earlier, which was a really good conversation and an important conversation. So I'm just going to give a little levity here and close it out with a fun fact Friday about some animals. And I was talking about some animals yesterday. Things people think are the same, but they're actually different. So we talked about a few animals. We talked about llamas and alpacas. We talked about kangaroos and wallabies, ravens and crows, lizards and salamanders.
Lions and tigers and bears.
That's all
we
did. I know. So we're up to rabbits.
Wabbits.
And we're up to wabbits, the Westley wabbits. Rabbits and hares look similar, but the two are not the same. The key difference between the two is that the hares live and give birth to their young above ground, while rabbits live and give birth to their young in burrows.
Wow.
In addition, I didn't know that. In addition, hares are larger, have longer legs and ears, and are less social than rabbits. Another difference between rabbits and hares can be seen in their respective babies. While newborn hares are fully developed at birth, newborn rabbits are born undeveloped and blind. And so yesterday we were looking at the two pictures, and for those of you watching us on Facebook and other sources on the internet, you could see what we have up, but there's a picture of a rabbit and a hare, and we were voting on which one we thought that was the cutest one, and I'm going to say the rabbit for me is the cute one. What about you, Robert? Robert
thinks he's a wascally wabbit.
Wabbit likes the wabbit.
Yeah.
Ogama, what do you like? Do you like the wabbit or the hares?
I'm gonna go with the waboos. Is how you say it in Ojibwe. I'm gonna go with the rabbit. The hares, they got like skinny little front legs, and they remind me of kangaroos. And if you were listening yesterday, I find kangaroos personally a little weird, so I'm going with the bunny on this one too.
Okay. All right. So before I put up the next picture, I just want to explain this. A letter, an alphabet letter, can sure make a lot of difference. The similarities between a Sphinx with an I and a Sphinx with a Y pretty much end with the spelling of the two widely different things.
Didn't we do this yesterday?
No. A Sphinx with an I is a mythical creature that has a human head and a lion's body, while a Sphinx with a Y is a breed of cat that has no hair. Now
that creeps me out. Which is cuter?
Which is cuter?
What the hell?
Can I tell a short story about a Sphinx cat? Oh my gosh. So years ago, I was sitting in traffic and I was at a stoplight and I was first at the stoplight, and there was a woman in the car next to me, what I presume was a woman. And I look over and she has a Sphinx cat just like perched on her chest as she's driving. It must have been like a companion pet or something. But I will tell you, if you know what one of these cats look like, I physically jumped. I had no idea what it was at first. I was like, oh my goodness, what is that? I thought it was a goblin or something.
Yeah, it does look like a goblin. But actually, I'm going to go with the Sphinx hairless cat as the cute one.
Well, can you imagine being a little kid, or Ogama, I should say, and see that for the first time and just be totally freaked out and go, what's wrong with that cat? It has no hair.
Yeah.
Little.
You have to give it a little sweater. I'm sure it gets a little chilly.
And they're really important for people that need companionship and have really bad allergies too. Like, they serve a purpose, and I do appreciate them for that. But they are certainly something that takes some getting used to.
That cat could get tatted up and you'd be able to see his tats. Like
no
tattoo. Yeah.
No tattooing. No.
If he wanted them.
We're going to move on to the next one here. Seals and sea lions may be related and visually similar, but the two animals are widely different. For starters, sea lions and seals don't belong to the same family. In addition, while seals have ear holes with no flaps, long claws, and full fur, sea lions have ears with flaps, short claws, and sparse fur. Also, sea lions can walk on land thanks to their long flippers, while seals flop around on their bellies when they're on shore.
I think they could be tatted up too.
Oh, I think that they're both cute. I'm going to go with the sea lion.
Well, with this picture,
as the cute one.
So the sea lion's like sleeping.
The seal is sleeping and the sea lion is sitting up on the rock. Yeah, so it's probably not a really good picture of like which one is better than the other, but
it's like a dog in water. Look at that.
I know it is. All right,
water dogs.
Okay, the next one. It's easy to confuse crocodiles and alligators. However, several distinct features and subtle differences can help tell these two different animals apart. A quick and effective way to distinguish between crocodiles and alligators is to look at the shape of their heads. Crocodiles have a longer pointed V-shaped snout, while alligators have a U-shaped snout that is wide and short. In addition, crocodiles are usually larger and are mostly green or brown, whereas alligators are black or gray on top with a cream colored underneath.
Well,
I
see you
hope I
later.
never get close to either one to ever figure that out.
See you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile.
This one I didn't know. I'm going to do this one here. It's easy to confuse possums and opossums.
Oh, we didn't get to see which one was the cutest
Okay.
on the alligator.
However, the two are different animals. While possums are native to Australia, opossums are native to North America. The Australian native, the possum, got its common name from its resemblance to the American native, the opossum. Unlike the Australian possums, which have large ears and eyes and furry tails, the American rat-like opossum has smaller ears and eyes, a bald tail, and a face full of pointy teeth. The two aren't even in the same family, with the Australian possum being more closely related to kangaroos than the American opossum. Now, I always call them possums no matter what, but I have to say the opossum, our opossum is cuter than the Australian possum.
Well, that one lives under our deck.
Which one are you going for, Robert?
I'm going the opossum on the right-hand side there.
Okay.
I'm also going to go that one because they're super beneficial. They eat ticks and other kind of insects we don't like, and they don't carry rabies, which is really exciting too.
That's exciting. Yes.
Wow. Wendy.
Yeah.
Do you got another one before we go?
Oh,
I know
I
you're
have more
crazy.
time?
No, you only have 40 seconds.
Okay, turtle and tortoises. I think they're both cute. While all tortoises are turtles, are not all turtles are tortoises. While all tortoises are turtles, not all turtles are tortoises. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Hey, we need to resist, divest, join a group, and run for office. We're still here. We are the 7th generation. This has been Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake.
Free Leonard Peltier. Stop line 3. Please get vaccinated and boosted.
Thanks to State Senator Mary Kunesh, Ogama, and Wendy. We'll see you Monday.
Prairie Farm Supply in Belle Plaine reminds listeners, in times of war and peace, the men and women of our military